All right, so we're going to talk about the neutral zone. Story behind this is I didn't like our neutral zone transition at the halfway mark. We had a lot of injuries. Actually, Matt McIlvain helped with it, but our forecheck, the second half of my first year was going really, really well, and we were kind of getting away from that, and then the offensive zone possession. So kind of backing everything up, like watching the video, we had to find, how are we entering the zone? How are we forechecking? Were we placing pucks properly? What were our routes? And then rewinding or like re-engineering it, found that it was our neutral zone transition. I didn't like the routes, that's on me. So kind of just trying to think outside the box and have fun with it. I looked at the coaching staff and I'm like, well, what if we run our O-zone in the neutral zone? And the whole thought process behind that was, whether you're in a 1-1-3, a 1-2-2, a 2-1-2, whatever neutral zone forecheck you're doing, the only read that's different is if there's a low center or a high center, right? And then they have to adjust from that. So my thought process, not knowing how it would work, is what if we have both? Is it going to mess people up? And I'll give my disclaimer. No, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, but I like doing things differently, because when you do things differently, nobody knows how to forecheck it, nobody knows how to defend it, and they have to spend the extra time on that, which takes them away from other things. So that's our thought process. So that kind of gets into the data. The common myth is that neutral zone transition feeds your rush offense, and it's completely false. So that's why I have the line through it. If we look at origin of possession by D zone, neutral zone, O zone, basically, if the Michigan Wolverines touch the puck in the defensive zone, blue line to goal line, and they don't give up possession by the time we score, then that's where the origin comes from. Same thing with neutral zone, same thing with the O zone. So what this shows here is, like, in total, just NHL versus NCAA, and they're very similar, that neutral zone makes up the origin of a goal only 15% of the time. So why the heck would I do a presentation on neutral zone transition and how it's a new way to feed offense? Well, it's similar to what Taro was saying. It's field position, all right? So just like football field position, we're over or below the red line. That puts us in an opportunity to create momentum, all right? So then you dive deeper, and on rush goals, where does the origin start? 72%, I know it's a little blurry, 72% of it starts in the defensive zone. So that could be deep regroups, retrieval breakouts, D-zone breakouts, all right? Then when you go to O-zone play, 69% of us getting first touch of possession happens in the offensive zone. But it's not like you break out, you enter, you cut back, even though we'd like to. You have this beautiful possession play, and you just have the puck on your stick for 25 seconds. The best part of O-zone possession or O-zone play is teams that hunt. I thought I was the smartest guy in the world 7-8 years ago before I started working for Jeff Blashill's staff, because I'd have all these Tampa Bay and Toronto Maple Leafs clips of like high scissors and switches. What works the best is winning races and battles. Everything, I'll get to Barry Smith later, but like everything he says and how he's simplified the game into those three areas and how he talks about it, it's all it is, race and battles. And when we win the race, what are we doing away from the puck to be predictable? All right, so it tells a story. Same thing with the NCAA. One little caveat just for fun. See how it says 5% of rush goals start in the offensive zone? So we've developed an app that tracks a lot of different things, but that's how we get to this data, and we've built rules behind it. So those 5%, like when you watch it, it's like an offensive zone team wins a face-off back, it goes past the blue, the D misses it, and then they never give up possession, and they end up scoring on the rush. Does that make sense? Good? All right. Somebody was questioning it. So that's kind of our story. So then when you put some structure behind it, again, I got this from Coach Blashill, but if we're shooting on this net and the puck comes out of the O-zone, we're in our neutral zone transition, yes, we want to play fast as much as possible. But there's some times that you can't, all right? So that's why we have the mentality of we're going to attack when the opponent's vulnerable, we're going to possess when they're in their structure. The opponent is vulnerable off of turnovers, line changes, or just free space in general. That's a read for the player, get your head up, make a read, all right? They're in their structure when we're in the offensive zone. If they're 5 on a dice, they're in their structure. We're not going to force pucks to the slot. We're going to go low to high, and we're going to change sides and start running our O-zone possession. All right? So rim zone, we're putting it in. And then Barry talked about it the other day, but being in a hurry or getting to structure as quickly as possible. I thought of that as away from the puck, but then I started thinking about it more, and I think that's something that we do really well. Somebody pointed that out to me the other day when we were watching video, is how we get into structure as quickly as possible in the offensive zone. So we have those routes off the rim. North zone, traditional, is something along these lines where guys are filling 3 lanes and they're just going quick to the north, to the weak side. That's great, that works. That's when they're vulnerable. That's when we want to attack and we want to play fast. But when we can't, that's where we've created the build it zone to where we're going to bring it back. And then we'll kind of blend that with our O-zone structure and just how that mirrors it. All right, so we win a race. We've got our triangle support, triangle support, triangle support. And then a big thing just for high ice, it's standard for us inside of our O-zone, is we want to get to the middle. So in this look, similar to the power play, this is your 1-3-1 look. The whole thought process behind this for me, and like you have to have a process, don't just do it to do it, is when this guy shoots the puck, I got this from Ken Hitchcock, 80% of those retrievals end up in that far corner. That's why we have this guy going down. His reads are simply that he goes when this guy's got some space. If he doesn't feel he's going to get it through, then he would kind of widen out to the boards versus going down. All right, but then we always have 2 on the inside, and then this is our follow the pass guy. So that's the same look we're looking at. I'll let this play out, and then I'll rewind it one time. So why does that muffin from the point work out? Because of this activation. Winger, he goes by him. This is the other net front D reporting, or D2. Watch this guy's route because he goes. So now he's left the most important area of the ice open. So if 42% of goals are scored from right here and 84% are from here, I'd rather have a 1-on-1 in front of the net than a 3-on-3 or a 4-on-4. That's too much clutter for me. It also allows us to have this bumper net front separation that he can get to all those retrievals as well, i.e. Barry Smith winning races and battles and then extending possession. And that was the game winner to make it to the next game before the Final Four. So what I'll do, I'll just have one clip of the rim forecheck, 2 of the neutral zone transition, quick to the weak side, and then we'll get into all the build it situations and show some practice drills. So we rim it. It's a big sheet. In our perfect world, say we retrieve it here. First guy's there, second guy finishes his route. Remember, we want to stay out of the cemetery, and then the third guy's here. So right away, we want to change sides as quickly as possible. We win the battle. You have a good F3. Now we go up, and we're in our structure. All right, so we call this the follow the pass guy, bumper, net front, puck carrier, and then weak side flank. This is actually covered very, very well by St. Cloud. So in these scenarios, they're in their structure. We need to possess. This is not an attack play. The best play right now is probably a weak side chuck, because Marshall, 77, should finish his route. And then when he catches this, we've got a release behind, we've got bumper support here, or Luka can come up to here for a low to high play. All right, but we have triangles all over the ice, whether we're under possession or we're attacking. Next one here is just north to the weak side. So standard, Seamus Casey turns around, D, fill all 3 lanes, and then guys are just going to run their rush routes. Make a play. That's playing fast because, again, they're vulnerable. We've got the space. We got to take it. Same thing here. Remember, rim zone, north zone. So we're just going north to the weak side here. They surf on them, takes a bounce, but we win the next race. We beat our check up the ice, and then Ern makes a good play. This one here is a good example. So rim zone for Wisconsin. They've got 3 guys off sides. There's no play here for them, and we're coming at him. He's going to end up making this play to this winger. He puts that guy in a very difficult spot. That's why the rim zone's created, all right? So now they turn it over. Now this is our look, and you guys will start to see the trends of puck carrier, weak side flank, bumper, follow the pass, and then we keep our net front guy here. I could talk for days on this and what it does and what we did well and where we'll take steps in the future because we're going to keep doing this, but it really messes up D gaps, similar to a power play breakout with a stretch guy, that they have to honor that guy. And going back to Mike McKenzie's point, even though he showed Michigan the other way, if we would have communicated before, I could have given him some good clips because he's got some outstanding stuff that those skills would filter in very well to what we're trying to do, right? So I'll just let this play out instead of me ranting. But you could see it's overall development. It's puck support. It's puck management. It's making plays. We don't make the play I like here, but if he delays, he can hit him, beat your check. You got a 2-on-1. If he places this properly, we still have a chance. That's with 5 guys above us. So that's hard to do. When there's 4 or 5 guys above you, you're chipping the puck in the majority of the time. We still want to create controlled entries. We're just trying to find different ways to do it through the build it scenarios. So this is the first drill we did. Like I watch this now and I'm like, oh my gosh, like we've gotten so much better at it, but it's just introducing the concepts. So like when we came up with the idea to introduce something new, we had to change all our drill design. Even our shooting or like warm-up drills, we had to change the routes so that everything flowed back to what we're trying to accomplish. But what I did is they know our O-zone very well. We take a lot of pride in it. So I was able to relate having guys in the neutral zone and calling them a net front guy, calling them a bumper, calling them a follow your pass or whatever. So like when we talk about a point shot and the net front guy tips it in O-zone, we're talking about feeding our forecheck where if I'm the net front guy, we go D to D, I'm angling out to place that puck properly to speed on those outside flanks or to bump it underneath or to the outside to those flanks as well. So it gives us multiple options. And again, it does something that people haven't prepped for. So even having these conversations and every coach in college hockey watches this, it's still us being better at what we do versus them prepping for it. So you're not giving away anything. Florida runs a 1-2-2. There's a lot of teams that run a 1-2-2 forecheck. Why are they so elite at it? It's not because of the structure. It's because of the habits and concepts inside of it. That's what we're trying to create here. All right, so we walk the blue, D to D. These are just one option. It's not the only one. Take a shot, 2 on the inside. Then we put out a neutral zone puck. All right, just for our routing, first guys to the middle, the bumper, follow the pass guys to the wall so they have quick triangles here, triangle here. And then the net front guy, which is very similar to just playing north to the weak side anyway, he hangs out on the dot. So right away, if this is a righty, we can wheel, just go off the back wall and go, right? Once he gets to the middle, that's when he comes to the middle as well, and that's when we have that 1-3-1 look. All right, I'll just let it play out. There's the spacing again. And this, again, it's not wrong to work on rush shot attempts off our neutral zone transition, but we do a ton of like first touch releases, or even if we have possession off the entry, like how are we going to release if we don't have the proper puck support? So on this one, he just pulls up. We have an F3, change sides east-west, and then what I'm trying to show them is just another rep of getting into that same structure. So they got it pretty quick. We still, after even one half of a season, I don't think we've perfected it, but it's pretty cool to see how quickly they can adjust. All right, now we have some token pressure coaches out here. So I gave one drill and just showed how we could do it 15 different ways in the progressions. But basically what's happening here is we'll replicate a 1-2-2, a 1-1-3, a 2-1-2. So we give those guys pressure so they know what options are going to be there for that opponent this weekend, just to give them some extra touches. All right, so this guy turns it over to the coach. He pressures them. This is more of like a 1-1-3 or a 1-2-2 without this guy here. And we're just going to end up hitting the guy in the pocket. He hits the net front guy, and we're still filling all 3 lanes, even 4 if that D wanted to join, right? So everything still is connected to the way that we want to enter the zone or forecheck. We've just found a different way to do it. I think it's fun and it works. Just keep showing the progressions. Again, you can see the triangle can see the triangle, so there's close support. We'll talk a little bit about this more when I show you one of the small area games that we play. But like the best part about this, I got it from Pep Guardiola with soccer, is if you're making 5 foot or small plays in small areas all over the ice, if I make a bad pass, somebody's tight enough to get it back. Versus, and bear with me, I'm going off topic, if we go traditional, left wing, center, right wing, and these guys are along the wall, and we go D to D and hit him and he bobbles it, this whole dangerous area is exposed, and you're screwed. That's why I like having this net front guy here. We have a high center and a low center, because there's a lot of times the game winner against Michigan State to go to the Final Four where there's some type of play where this guy helps retrieve pucks, then we're just kicking it to outside speed. So we have a plan to be predictable. So this one here, he ends up hitting the net front guy, and then he just kicks it out to that wide speed, and we make a play at the net. This is one of my favorite clips of the year. So Penn State does a 1-1-3, and then when they see backs, they do a 2-1-2. So they're pressuring 2. We hit the bumper. There's your triangle. Beautiful picture. Now they're going to step. This is their other forward. This is their D. And then we end up hitting the net front guy for a breakaway, because he's used to holding and seeing someone on that far lane or stepping on them. So it messes people up. I'm only showing you the good clips, too. I didn't show you all the turnovers. There's a lot of them. So now we chip, kind of in that 1-1-3. There's the triangles. Hit the net front guy. Now all those skills that Mike talked about are coming into play here. And then we drive the net. I'm just trying to replicate the practice drills with some game clips. Just filling space. The best part about this, and they would know what I mean, the majority of the clips I'm showing, I don't want to show Adam Fantilli or Luke Hughes or Seamus Casey or Rucker McGroarty just breaking guys down because they're better. This is our fourth line. 75% of these clips are a third or fourth line. So like everyone can do this, and it can be an identity. But just chip to space. Eddie ends up driving the net. To me, they're in their structure here. This would be a pull-up opportunity. But I like the mentality. Other one, so now the coaches are pressuring more, so we have a cutback option or just a bump. And then when we cut back and hit that strong side guy, we're going to send him to the wall. And now it gives us our entry concepts of getting off the wall, potentially attacking the weak side D, and now we have middle entry to kick out. Here's a game clip of it. It's kind of soft pressure, but we run our routes, get off the wall, and that front guy comes around, kick it, middle drive, deliver. Same thing here, pressuring 2-1-2, going to hit the guy in the pocket, and then this is kind of a goof up by him. Like I'd like him to be in here or in here, because I want this guy going. He's maybe making a read that he's not there, so he's gonna widen out. But I think we need to use the width of the ice a lot better there. So I really like this clip. Whenever we have our D down on a weak side pinch in the O zone, our F3 has to be responsible and fill. So now we have forwards coming back in these areas. Like this is positionless hockey. Everyone keeps talking about it. This is our other D. So he just fills space. We hit him in the middle, right? Their gap's messed up because of the net front stretch. We kick it out. We end up scoring here. I don't think that's a high quality chance that you're going to score on a lot, but it gave us a chance. Then here, now we're just working on hitting guys underneath. And you can see the speed from the bumper where like the net front guy's backed him up. He's still there for an option, or if he skates, even a bank here. But this guy's got way more speed to support when that puck does come through the seam. And then he filled all 4 lanes. Again, this was more, this drill and all the progressions was to introduce it. I like adding way more pressure and all the stuff that we're doing. Same thing. There's your look. kick, seam. This doesn't end up working out, but now he gets off the wall. He's got an opportunity to take it or kick it back out. All right, this is one of my favorites. So we've got several of these drills, but now we've just gamified everything. And it's light, like we're not going like super hard from a physicality standpoint. We just call it the PEP Neutral Zone. It's the first drill we do in practice on Wednesdays, and it's just 5-on-5 puck possession. So there's a line directly along the top of the circles. We've done it a bunch of different ways. So like one way we do it is if you carry it over the line, you get a point. The other way we've done it is if you carry it over the line, you get 2 points. And if you chip it past the line and get first touch, you get 1 point. All right? So not the people in this room, but some people would see this and be like, your team is turning the puck over 10 times in one shift. Why are you having them do that? That's development. We do turn it over. Monday through Thursday, we turn it over a ton. And then they know the reads that they have to make on Friday and Saturday. Are they perfect? They're not, but that's how you teach hockey IQ. We got to put them in situations where they can make reads and they can fail without getting yelled at or spanked. All right, so right away, one team's on offense, the other team, we'll run our stuff in the neutral zone. Sometimes we run other teams' stuff, and then they just got to make plays. And they're trying to get a point to carry it over the line. So 6 passes made in one sequence. So if we can do that, we can make 3, right? And it's almost like we're trapping on the forecheck. And you're going to make plays. They're not going to work out. Gets ugly. But you can see, like, there's no space in the neutral zone. So, like, any type of play would be a positive play. It gets broken up, but they get it right back because everyone's tight. And that was my point with the soccer stuff. Right? Then they regroup again. He spreads. He's in the middle. And then you hope to make plays like this. And out of watching 25 minutes, obviously that's the best clip, but you have an idea of kind of how all this stuff works, and it's just all organic development. That's our main focus. So the rest of these clips, I'll show some teaching stuff, but it's just players playing hockey. There's no set structure. We're giving them guidelines just to be predictable to each other, and then they can be creative. All right, so we're going to end up hinging this. I think the bumpers needs to be lower. And you'll notice that the follow the pass guy didn't come low. So when we do hit the net front guy to chip to space, he's stopped. It would have been nice for these guys to be in the picture right here and right here to lay pucks to areas or to the corner. But they work, again, our fourth line, and we end up getting it back. And then right away, we're into structure, and there's that 1-3-1 look. And then we can get to the retrieval. Same thing here, like kick it, follow the pass right here. These guys are end up switching, but it works out because they end up filling all the lanes. We're filling 3 lanes. You know, these guys are backed up. They have a poor gap. He probably should have middle cut and then got a lateral shot off. D down. That's a D that pinched. 6 is a forward that filled. Puck bounces. Can't rim it on my backhand, so I got to take it back. So they make plays. That's the original D that pinched. He just filled space, and then I cut it because there's nothing positive after that. Same thing here. Hit the middle guy. We can dump it in, but like it's got to be a self-chip. He doesn't have any support, so he decides not to. But going back, with 5 guys above us, this is what we're trying to accomplish. We've got a middle entry, and we're filling all 4 lanes. That's what we're trying to get to. All right, so this is the game winner. A lot of Michigan State clips. This is the game winner. Off a loss draw for State, they push 2-1-2. Traditionally, if we have a low forward, he'll just be above him. If we have a high forward, he'll be above him. Or some teams even lock the weak side lane, right? Watch the mess up. He's a D, he's a D. So we hit the bumper. It's a bad pass. It gets bobbled. This is a defenseman coming down on him. We get a bounce. This is a defenseman, similar to the Penn State clip, gapping here, and then this is their high forward who kind of got lost. We hit the net front guy. Frankie doing Frankie things. We've all seen this clip. You know what makes me so proud about this clip is, like, we talk about the Michigan or between the legs or toe drags. Like, I keep referencing Mike, you just talk, but like never say never and never say always. That's the play because of that pressure. That is the play. So it's not, he's not, there's not trickery. He's not being a Showtime player. He's making the play that's there. That's elite. And as a coach, somebody else talked about culture. That's the culture I want to create, to go to the Frozen Four, and I'm not taking credit for this, by the way. To go to the Frozen Four with 7 minutes and 9 seconds left, the face-off after we just scored, he pulls that out. He's got to have the confidence and the poise to pull that out. And then coaches take all the credit for it, like I just did. So, yeah. All me. So just to sum it up, like, just having fun with this stuff. Like, we always go back to the rules of three. For us as a staff, when we're looking at this, we've never done it before. So it's not just about putting the system or structure in place. You've got to build the drill design. You've got to know what your options are against every different type of NutriZone forecheck. You got to make them believe that this is going to, what do they all want? They all want to score more goals. So we have to make them believe that this puts them in a position to score more goals. So that's kind of how we're thinking. I probably should delete this. I just want to talk, like, everyone talks about playing fast. There's a million different buzzwords out there. It goes back into the teaching principles of, like, what does play fast mean? The people in this room, that's why this Coaches Site Conference is so fun for me. Like, the environment of being around like-minded people with no ego that can share, can grab ideas, can look at you and say, man, I never thought about that. That's awesome. Or show me this. Like, that's fun versus reading an article once, watching a presentation once, and saying that's the only way. You have to be able to explain how, when, why, where. What does playing fast mean? It's just puck speed and off the puck movement. That's all it is. It's player and puck speed. But to give them predictable routes, to be on the same page, that allows you to play fast because now we know where that puck's going and we should know where those options are away from the puck next. So, and then just back to drill design for us and our staff, and I know everybody here, development is always the starting point. I won't go on a rant on what I really think about the 1-1-3 NutriZone forecheck outside of pro hockey, but what I'll tell you is it doesn't develop hockey players away from the puck. You're playing a system to win. We are paid to win at Michigan, but I will not sacrifice development at Michigan to win, ever. So us running a 1-2-2 in the NutriZone is because I don't want to spend time on NutriZone forecheck. I'd rather spend time on stick detail, angling, cutting off hands, like Maddie said, all the core principles of defending versus drilling structure into 18 to 24-year-old players. There's my rant because you gave me the stage. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate it.